All right, welcome back to the Life and Leverage podcast. Today we got our special guest Jeff Claubert with us.
Hey,
so
Jeff.
happy to see you.
Hey, Randall, how are you?
Dude, I missed last week, so I was out traveling about and enjoying the Thanksgiving holiday weekend, and now I'm back at it.
Well,
So,
I wish you were back in Florida where we were like a month ago at the event.
Oh, that's been a little more than a month ago, but yeah, it was beautiful down there then, wasn't it? Great time.
It was fantastic.
People that don't take
one.
advantage of those events, they're missing out.
I tell you what, it was game changing for me. I did not understand the micros market. I thought, that really made a big difference for me, especially trading the MNQ versus the NQ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
the MNQ, the micros and the MNQ is really, really a good market to trade.
Yeah, and that was just one specific thing, but really just being able to hang out with you guys and have the one-on-one time and really get in specifically to what each of us are working on individually was awesome. And just getting to know
dialed in.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they didn't have the micros when I started, so I blew that first account and it was on the minis.
It hurts.
Smoked that first account,
Yeah. It hurts when you take a full stop loss on NQ.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, even on the ES, full stop
loss on the ES. It's not huge as far as dollars are concerned, but it could be $50-$60.
On the MNQ,
yeah, or the NASDAQ too, depending on what your protective stops are and what you're doing and that kind of thing. But it's still, you can blow an account pretty easy even with that if you're not careful. It's got to be got to follow the method. Got to follow that method. So what else you been up to, Jeff? Fabs was saying you're doing other things. What's going on, man?
So we're actually getting ready to build a house, and like building it myself. As crazy as that sounds.
What?
Yeah,
you're gonna be the contractor?
Yeah, I've built workshops in big buildings before, and I've done major structural renovations. I built a 31-foot boat, so I was, it's probably the same in your area, but you can't get a builder right now for probably 2 years.
2 years may be stretching it around here, but to get any handyman work done, it's like those guys, they can, whatever price, you'll pay, right? To even get somebody to come out and do some things.
So now, I figured, I built a 31-foot boat. I surely can build a box with a roof on top.
31-foot boat.
That's amazing.
Is it still float? No.
My wife made me build a dinghy first to make sure I could build something that floats on top of the water as opposed to the bottom.
Where do you have it housed, I guess you would say? Where do you have it?
It's up right now. It's in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm. Cold up there now.
It is getting cold. Hold on, let me turn that off. My gosh. Bad etiquette. Bad podcast etiquette.
It's all good, buddy. All good. How long did it take you to build a 31-foot boat?
Yeah. Well, I spent 4 years building the building to build the boat in. We built a 26 by 40 workshop on an island, and we brought everything out on a pontoon boat that was rickety and had a hard time staying together. And so
it's amazing.
It truly is amazing, dude.
We lumped a 26 by 40 building out on this pontoon boat, and we had an excavator come out and install the precast concrete footings for it. But then we did everything else without any heavy equipment. A friend of mine and I, he's kind of my mentor in builds amazing hand-scribed log homes. So we built the building, and
hand-scribed. Wow.
Yeah, he'll go harvest the logs, and then he'll hand peel them, with a big draw knife.
Yeah.
So
that's work, dude. That's some serious work.
Yeah, you don't want to arm wrestle the guy. He's strapped.
How old is he?
He's actually older than me. He's 65 now. But this was like 10 years ago.
Just crushing it. Good for him.
The building, and then I was like, I'm tired of building the building. Let's build a boat. So then I spent you actually, when you build a boat, you actually have to start with this table of fractions. It's called offsets, and you draw the boat full size on the floor, and then from that you pick off all your parts, and then you start building literally from a piece of paper. So that took about 3 years to build the hull, and I thought, I must be done. Like, I'm near done. So I don't know, like I think it was 10 years into the project. My wife said to me, she said, honey, I am so glad you had this opportunity to build your dream, your boat, because you're not doing it again.
You got everything finished. It took 10 years really to get it to the point that you wanted it, and you got it out sailing and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was probably about a 7 or 8 year project, including building the building to get it in the water. And then that was a very rough state. It was like a cabin structure. And every year, I don't think I'll ever finish it because I can never do another one. So
Really?
I just keep picking away at it.
You just keep picking away, yeah,
I'm
doing different
gonna
things.
have to rip the cabin off or something and redo it.
I was watching this. I was watching this thing on, or I follow these YouTubers. It's called Sailing Le Vagabond, and they just sail around the world. It's like this couple, and they have 2 kids, and they just sail. Like that's all they do. They don't have a house. They just sail around the world, and they just got this new catamaran built, and it's I think like 60 foot. It's beautiful, and they had it all custom built to exactly how they want it. But what he was explaining,
they're doing good on their YouTube followers, huh?
Oh yeah, they're they're crushing it. But what he was saying is, he was like, I don't want this to sound wrong for the builders because they did such an amazing job. He's like, but if you have like a 3-year-old boat and you put it out like a sailboat, it's going to be running in way better shape than if you were to go buy and build a custom built boat for that. Because as soon as you get it on the water, things start moving in different directions that weren't accounted for. And it doesn't matter how much you put it into it. It's just, it always happens. So it takes it takes quite a while for really a couple of years to get it to.
It does. We have another boat. We have a 32-foot boat. It's a Sea Ray, and it's a regular factory boat. It took like a year and a half to get that thing dialed in, and it's just the way it is. It goes in the marine environment. There's a lot of technology on these things, and those people that travel around the world, they are amazing. They can do so much themselves. It's incredible.
Seriously.
It's not something I think I want to attack.
I've thought about it. I've definitely thought about it. I would love to do it. I think it'd be so cool to be able to just travel.
I was younger like you, maybe, but maybe not. I don't know.
So my wife's, I don't know what the relationship is, somewhere out there in cousin world or something like that. She has a family member that did actually sell their house, buy a boat, like a 30-foot sailboat, and we're going to do that. And that was their plan. They actually, so we all have these dreams, right? A few of us actually do it. So good for them that they actually did it. But he had no experience sailing. And so and he started from Maine in like October. And so the marina people call that the steady stream of dreamers, people going from Maine down south. And so they were doing it for a while. They were out in the islands, and then something happened, and he was navigating back into a channel somewhere, I think somewhere down around Charleston or something, and he hit a navigation buoy pretty soundly, and all but destroyed the boat. So
really,
unfortunately, that cut his podcast, his YouTube channel short on that.
Oh, wow, I bet. Is that how they were planning on making money? Is doing everything on YouTube?
Yeah, and what I gave him, first I thought we were kind of crazy, but I also really I admire your guts and commitment. They didn't even know how to sail. They bought the sailboat. They bought this like 30-year-old 30-foot sailboat, and they're like, we're all in. We're gonna figure this out, and they did it, right? So that's amazing. Yeah. They did it.
That is amazing, man. That takes guts. How old were they when they started?
Some like mid-30s. So
yeah.
So younger, but not too young. So he's mid-30s. Yeah.
So where are you building this house?
So we are building it up in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, and we're excited for that because we're skiers and hikers. So it's going to be right up there. And what's interesting?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what's interesting is all the good lots probably everywhere in the country have been bought already. So what you find now are these, I call them boneyard lots, where they've logged the land, and they've left it all the stumps and slash and everything there, and you gotta do an enormous amount of site work. So we actually found one that was just perfect to build on in a established neighborhood, but it's very private and a nice sized lot. And so we're excited because it's literally right now the mountain that we love skiing at takes us about an hour to get there. Even though we live in the mountains, it still takes an hour to get there. And this lot is right down the street. So I'm very excited.
Cool.
That's awesome, man.
Time frame.
So you want to get in, you want to be able to get out there and kind of leave some of your other business stuff behind and just be able to trade a lot, right?
I would love that. Yeah, we're hoping to build. So our current house is on the market. So send us good thoughts for a buyer. Actually, for this buyer today, but the house should sell quick. It's on a golf course. It's riverfront on a beautiful river, and it's private, so it should sell quick. There's not many houses in the market, so we're hoping, but it's slow time of year. But we want to start building right away. That they can pour in the winter.
Really?
And yeah, another business I'm actually involved in is a nano material, nano composite concrete admixture that is great for cold and hot weather concreting. So we're going to use that product actually in this project as a way to get into the New Hampshire market.
Really?
And it extends the.
So you're taking that product that you're going to be using, and you're going to market it once you get up there.
Yeah.
New Hampshire.
So it's an established company in India and Gulf states and whatnot. Not Gulf states, U.S. like Oman and Jordan and whatnot. And we're introducing it to the U.S. And it is a U.S. based company, interestingly enough. But all the intellectual property was over in India. So now we're introducing it to the U.S. And it's a kind of a miracle product. It turns regular concrete into like super concrete, very cost effectively. So we're gonna use that as a case study here in the Northeast to go get into some of the big concrete manufacturers.
Cool.
Yeah.
So is it manufactured or on site or?
What we do is, it's called an admixture. So you have the concrete that's generally comes from the ready mix provider. It could be mixed on site too. And then depending if you want special properties, whether it's crack resistance or cold weather, hot weather. Whatever you're doing with it, you might need waterproofing. You add more chemicals, mixtures into the concrete. Get that. And what this product does is it uses what's called graphene, which is a one molecule thick layer of graphite. And graphite is the most common material on Earth. But this is a very difficult material to make, this graphene, but it's also the most conductive, and it's 200 times stronger than steel. It's amazing.
Wow.
So what this product does is it replaces all those other products. And so you get this durable concrete that you can use in cold weather and hot weather. It resists against corrosion. It's 30% stronger. It's an amazing product, and you can just mix it. It's super simple.
Do you still use rebar with it, or is it just
you use rebar, but you can typically use less rebar. And what you'll also be able to do is you can reduce some of the secondary reinforcing materials. Whether it's steel fiber, now they're using, carbon fiber and whatnot. You can reduce all that stuff and have a stronger material. The other cool thing is concrete typically takes 28 days to full cure. What's called early strength. This cures in 7. Wow. So it's
Now that really speeds up the construction process.
It does. Yeah. And we're going far afield from trading here, but it's a fact. In fact, I was just on with we're getting into the Caribbean market, and so I was just actually on with some of the government ministers, and we're talking about introducing it over there. So it's really neat what this can do. It democratizes durable concrete, because durable concrete is very difficult to make. So we're
so could you get into like some government contracts on that thing, and then really make some good dough on it?
That would be great, but
yeah. Awesome, man. That's really, really cool. Yeah. So you're starting the house with that. That's going to be your base. and then
yeah. So we'll
build
probably start pouring. I wanted to start pouring in January or February, but a lot of the contractors were in the mountains, so there's actually even some road restrictions, and when you drive heavy vehicles down roads, so you don't wreck them. Because in the winter here, the roads, everything freezes, and then coming into the spring, they start getting mushy with all the snow runoff and everything. So they have weight restrictions. So it's probably like March. So
sounds like they need your company to help them out with the road.
We're pretty excited for it. Yeah, it's a great way to get in locally. Like, all right, I got my own house. I'm gonna use as a case study.
That's cool.
There you go.
Did you design the house too? That you're gonna?
We are going to design it. We know what we want. We're going to go for a mid-century modern. It's kind of like a single slope, kind of shed roof house with a front all glass. And
nice.
We love that design, but it's also very simple. It's 4 walls and a flat roof. I mean, how much more easy could you get? But it's a beautiful house, and so we're I've got the software to do all the CAD drawings on it. And the cool thing about the software is once you design the house, it does the build plan, it does all the framing plan, does the cut list, it does everything for you, comes up with all the different plans, all the different layers with electrical and mechanical and HVAC that you need to go get approval.
That's cool. That's cool.
Wow, really? And this sounds like something I need. Is that only available in the US or what?
No, it's called Chief Architect. Go check it out. Chief Architect is that.
Chief Architect.
Yep.
I am going to check that out.
I know you have a lot of stuff going on in you're on Lake Geneva. We talked about that one.
Yeah. We bought 2 apartments. So it's in a is
that Italy?
One big building. What was that?
What country is it? Italy or what country is it?
No, it's in France. So we're in France, but it's 10 minutes from the border of Switzerland. And then if you drive the other direction, because it's literally right on the lake, and then you pull out and go to the left, it's 10 minutes to Switzerland. You go to the right, and it's
let's be clear. We're talking about Lake Geneva.
Yeah, they call it Lake Léman over here. They don't actually call it Lake Geneva over here, but that's what everybody in the United States, or even in English, that's what we call it, is Lake Geneva. But
and what do they call it over there?
Leman, Léman. Lake Léman. Yeah.
We need to have a mastermind event over in
we do. In Switzerland, capital of finance over here. Why not? Let's do it.
And then you can take people out for boat rides off your dock.
Yeah. I just got into this.
Michael,
you're always thinking about how ways to make money, right?
That's Jeff? Right.
Yeah.
Mike, you're doing something very, very right in life to have multiple places on Lake Geneva. I mean,
thank you.
You're a young guy. So I'm in the presence of some greatness here. The two of you.
That's really nice of you to say, man. My wife is a huge help on that. I want to be able to do any of it without her because my French is terrible. And so
it's a lot better than mine.
I just put in the work, and she helps pull everything together. So I'm a lucky man for sure to be able to make it work. But when I first got over here, man, honestly, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know one word of French, like maybe bonjour, but like I thought it was pronounced like bonjour at that time, probably. And like I didn't really think about it.
French pronunciation, like the
bonjour.
How's that coming along?
Yeah, actually, I think my pronunciation's pretty good, actually. Good. That's my accent's pretty good.
You want to bust some stuff out?
Not really. No.
Come on,
do the Pepe Le Pew.
No, I'm good.
Wow.
Speaking of Pepe Le Pew, do they even know who he is over in France?
Yeah, my wife does. Yeah, actually, my wife does. I think Zanetti brought it up on the morning meeting or something. He was like, "That shit is so like it's so behind in the time, and it's not like like it's so offensive now if you were to like show that show." And I was like, I don't know if it is. Like, let me ask my wife." And I asked her, and she was like, the little smelly
Skunk.
guy." And I was like, "Yeah, the skunk, yeah."
You know how to be sensitive of the animals' feelings. Wow.
Right? No, I mean, I tossed myself into it. In all honesty, I didn't really think about what I was doing, and then once I got over here, I kind of got into a place of a bad head state because I didn't know the language and I didn't know what I was doing. And I came from Chicago, working at the board. I was like living.
That took a lot of guts, man. That took a lot of guts,
you know.
A lot of guts.
And I kind of fell into this like state of depression. In all honesty, I was really down because I just got married. I got this beautiful wife that I just want to create all these opportunities and be the man that I know I could be. And I couldn't work because I didn't have my paperwork over here and stuff like that. So then like I was stuck, and it took me a while. Actually, in all honesty, I don't even care. Everybody knows, so I can say it here. I got deported.
Did you really?
From France? Yeah. Yeah. So I got kicked out of the country because they wouldn't give me my paperwork for France. Wow. And I thought at the time, like, this is the worst thing ever. But they were like, "Where do you want to go back to?" And I was like, my mom's in Florida, and it was in January. It was in the middle of December when
did they show up like with the police and they were taking you away?
They did. They were knocking on my doors, and like finally they served me a paper that said like, if you don't show up in court, like not like a court, like you have to show up at this building and check in, then we will come into your house. And so I was like, okay. So we showed up, and they were the nicest people on earth. We had been trying. I had a lawyer. I had everything. I was trying legitimately to get my paperwork. They just want to give it to me. They said that I had to come back to the United States and get it. They just would not give it to me. So I just told them, and I was like, I already own a house here, and I've been here for 4 years. Like, what else do you want from me? Like, I have a loan, I pay it, like I pay my taxes. What else do you want? And they were like, you to go to your country and get the paperwork because we're not going to give it to you.
What paper?
And it's called the carte de séjour, but it's like my visa, basically. It's like my spousal visa. And so they were super nice, and they told me. What was that?
Did you just not know that in advance? It was just like they're not told of that process.
No, we were trying. I think me trying to get my paperwork is what triggered it, in all honesty. I don't even think they knew that I like kind of overstayed my welcome in the country until that point. And then I tried to do what I thought was right. Well, my wife made me do what she thought was right. I didn't even care. I would have just like stayed here as long as and not really thought about it. But she was like, "No, we got to do it." So yeah, it turned into that. And it was a hard time. But
How long did you have to go back to the States for?
That's the funny thing. So I'll say in a second. So I had to tell them where I wanted to go. They were like, "You just tell us where you want to go, and we're gonna make sure that you get there." And I was like, "Okay, well, Miami, Florida, then." I was like, middle of December. That's where my mom's in Florida. She can pick me up at that airport. That sounds good. Let's do that. And so they picked me up at my house at 5 or 4:30 in the morning. We drove to Paris, just me and 3 police. There was 2 in the front seat and 1 next to me. There was nothing. We stopped. We got like pain chocolat, like baguettes, coffee. They're like, "You want anything?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." And they never checked my baggage or anything. And I bought 5 bottles of wine back in my baggage. And so they finally I thought I was going to have to check in to the airport like normal. Nope. They drove me to the front door of the airplane. And then we're like, oh, we should have probably checked your baggage. Can we check that real quick? I'm like, yeah, I got 5 bottles of wine in there. They're like, it's fine. No problem. No big deal. And so they
did you
checked
have to pay for the ticket, or did
no? And I actually asked them. I was like, but I mean, I can just go back if that's what I need. They're like, no, we're going to deport you. This is how this has to be done. It's going to cost us 20,000 euros, and that's what's going to happen. And I was like, okay. It was the biggest airline. It was the biggest plane I've ever been on in my life. Still to this day, it was like one of those huge Air France ones. It was a beautiful plane.
Did they put you first class as well?
No, they put me in I was on the very last row, very back of the plane. It was a full plane though.
So when did they take the handcuffs off?
They didn't. There was there's no handcuffs at all. Never. But they did hold my what's it called? My
passport?
Passport. Yes, thank you. They held my passport, and then they told me that the pilot would give it to me like a little bit before we landed.
Wow.
So I'm asking them, and I'm like worried because like I hadn't had it. I had to check it in with them. They would make sure, so they would make sure that I wouldn't leave the country on my own. Yeah. They had to make sure that they took it, and they would give it to me once I landed in the United States. So I'm asking them about it, and like then I think the pilot realized what was going on, and then like they waited I had to wait for all of the biggest flight that I've ever been on. Both there was upstairs and downstairs. I had to wait for everybody to get off, and then I go up to the front, and it's like the stewardess and the pilots and stuff, and they're just kind of kicking there, like, what happened? And I was like, I don't know, I got deported. I was like, I don't really understand why. They're like, but why? I was like, honestly, I still don't really understand to this day. I was like, I'm legally married in France and legally married in the United States, like own a home in France and stuff like that. But like, wasn't good enough. And they were like, and that's not cool. That's not cool at all. They're like, I got a brother that happened to as well. And he married, another, an American woman and stuff like that. And they were super nice about it and gave me my passport. I get off the plane and go back to my mom's house. She was living in Sarasota at that time, and then go back a week later to Miami to get the official paperwork. Right? I'm in there nervous because I'm thinking like this is gonna be like this big.
I'm in trouble here too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in trouble and stuff like that.
I thought you were gonna say that the states wouldn't let you back in.
I go sit down and they're like, why are you nervous? Because I'm in with other Americans, and I was like, I don't know, man. I just, my wife is still over there. I'm worried. I just want to make sure I get over there. He's like, calm down. You're American. You're going to be fine. And I was like, all right. And so he goes in, we take our picture and stuff. And he was like, everything will be like sent directly to you, UPS. It'll be there in 2 weeks, 14 days, exactly 14 days. I was like, okay. Sounds good. So I'll just go hang out in Florida for a bit and come back and see my wife. And then COVID hit.
Oh no.
Wow.
Right then, like right before I got it, I bought a flight back and that got canceled. And then I bought 4 or 5 other flights and all of them got canceled. I still never saw $1 from any of them. And
wow.
Yeah, they just took my money. And finally I got a flight back 6 months later after COVID. So I was, basically stuck in there.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then and then it's funny. It's when I was going through all that stuff, and that's when Target was forming, and since I had worked with Pat and Dan and everybody from before, that's when I got hooked back up with Target, and I was like, yeah, well, let's do this. And so flew up to Chicago and then flew back down to Florida, took off to Florida, flew back to France. And that's the rest is history.
What a rough start to your life in France. Well, you were there for 4 years. Then they
4 years, man.
Wow.
Yeah. But in all honesty, like I thought, that's what I was going to say. Like, I thought that was the worst time. I thought it was like the most down of my life. I thought like I am a terrible person. Like, I can't believe I let this happen. It turned out to be the best thing in my life.
Wow.
It was if I wanted to have done that, like, I probably would have been stuck here not knowing what I should do and stuff like that. It's what turned everything around, and I got to my lowest and built it back up. And now, you know, like I said, you know, got a couple houses on Lake Geneva, got one up here in Orleans, and, you know,
isn't that so true though? Like, we all go through big things in life, and depending on who we are and what they are, you know, but honestly, it seems like it's the worst thing in the world. But we often experience really good things coming out of those times. They really try us, but we usually grow from them and go to better.
That's what makes us stronger, right?
That's right.
It's like those.
What doesn't kill you will make you stronger.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I had no idea. Man. That's incredible.
I mean, it's funny because, like, you know, I was telling Randall the other day when we were talking, I was like, I'm so excited to get Jeff on here. I was like, I don't know how often you get to talk to him, but like every time me and Jeff talk, we talk for like an hour or two. Like, we just get on the phone and we'll start blabbing.
Well, I see his, you know, I see his
good
trades posted. He doesn't, you know, I don't get to see him. He doesn't send them to me anymore, but not that he needs to. But when
he's a live trader now
in the room, when they
I
post
tell
them in
you
the
what,
room.
man, it's one. I miss your room, man. I was thinking the other day, like, I wish I could just like start all over again and go through Randall's class but live.
Come back in, man.
Nothing wrong with you logging back in.
Yeah, you come in and spend any time in there you want. Absolutely.
I think I might do that. What's interesting is going live. I really has been a mind game. It's been the biggest challenge. And I remember Pat always says, like, your real education starts when you go live. And I was like, whatever. You know, I mean, I've spent so much money, invested so much money, lost so much money in business. It was like, this is nothing. Wow, until you start doing it. And the head game is the game. It is in most things in life, right? But wow, it's the challenging part. At least I found that.
Oh, it's human emotions, man. That's when the true.
You got to keep those emotions out of it. You got to be.
But then what happens, right? Is so you manage that, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job of it. And then you're like finding. I remember like one thing Preston was saying to me is like, you're just finding your way as a trader. You know, once you're live and you're trying to find yourself, but it's so easy to stray away from the basics. And the basics are where it's all at.
Reversals.
They are. Yeah.
It's just absolutely amazing how true that statement is that you just made. I mean, just stay with the basics. People go rogue for whatever reason. They just stop doing what got them there to begin with, because you went through Money Management 1, Money Management 2. You may have gone through Money Management 3. I'm not sure.
No, I did. I went through 3. I think I even did a 4th round until I was like, all right, get it. I'm going back live again. I'm not learning anything right now because I needed the pressure of live.
Yeah, and there is pressure when you do go live. You train and you train and you train, but even still, then you're still going to have some pressure off of it, and that's where the discipline comes in. Then you got to have that discipline. If you don't have that discipline, forget it. I mean, let's say you lose 2 in a row, you should be done for the day.
Yep.
Right. A lot of people will do what is called revenge trading, which I had to overcome. And you know, it's just stupid. You know, you're not seeing that the market's going to do what the market's going to do. And so, you know, you just gotta be disciplined with that. It's easier said than done.
Yeah. And even if you're trading at, I think even if you were to do it and, you know, you thought about it, you had the money in the account, you went in and you were just like, all right, I'm going to start trading. I'm going to start trading on a high contract, right? I'm going to start trading at 20 contracts rather than 2, right? Let's say that you did it, right? Now the market moves at $1,000 a point in the ES, right? I mean, I don't think there's that big of a difference if you have the money there, and if you switch over and do it, you're still going to be just as scared, and you're still going to have those emotions come into play. It's not going to make it worse because you're putting that kind of risk into it. Honestly, it doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter how many contracts that you're trading. I think if you do it, and if you kind of started out in doing it at a higher contract rate, if you can afford it, if you can afford to do that, and then you kind of get used to being able to take those hits and also doing it, and then you truly become a disciplined trader at that rate, there's some potential there.
Well, so, one of the women that was at the event in Florida, she was clearly very well to do in life, and had some other businesses, but she had lost hundreds of thousands of dollars trading before on another system. And so it even though she had the money, it was so scarring to her that she was just constantly afraid to go live. And so and that was before Patrick, right? So this is another method. So that was her challenge, is to go live, and it was like it was a mental block for her. So that's what she wanted to get over at the event, was to finally go live. And so even if you do have that money, it's the head game is still the biggest challenge, and I'm making really good progress at it. But that has been kind of, Randall, it's almost like now that I am live, I'd love to go back and just like start again, to redo the basics.
Come on in, man. We'd love to work with you on that. You have probably as much knowledge as I do, but it's just getting back to those basics and following that support and resistance, especially if it's a trending trade outside of the previous session's range. That one trade where you break through the top or the bottom of the range and it retraces back to that edge. That's a fad, because the market has already shown you that it wants to go higher or it wants to go lower. And that is a great place to take a trade. But it's a inverse type of trade that you're doing. But when you do that, and when you see that trade, that is a good trade to take. It really is.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I have found too that. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is, like, look at the edge trader, and it's like basically what you used to know as the Oracle, but like we have it and we're testing it right now, and it's going to be out soon. But that edge trader, it only is taken inverse and reversal trades. That's all it takes, and
only at the edges. It's fabulous.
It's so good. Like it's almost too easy. Like it's just like it's crazy.
Too easy.
You're right, but honestly, it's crazy how well that thing works. It's obscene, isn't it? I mean, and isn't that really just going back to the basics? That's all it is. It's the first. Those are the first two trades that you guys learned, right? It's the first two trades that everybody learns. You learn the reversal first, and then you learn the inverse second. That is the epitome of going back to basics, right? And if you only do that, look at how well it works.
Well, I know, especially if you go after trending trades. I never thought I was going to be a trending trade junkie, and I can't quite call myself a junkie, but they're still so hard to master. And the edge trades are just like so, I don't say simple, but they're just so much more consistent. And that's what I'm trying to do, is only take edge trades. And occasionally I'll still take a trending. I'm like, why the hell did I do that? And it normally doesn't work out well. The edge trades are what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. And so this new program, well, it's not a new program, it's been around, but Preston Vogel has been able to mimic exactly what Patrick says to do so effectively. It's unbelievable how good this thing is.
That's
so it's coming out soon. I'm not sure when, but it's but the Pit Viper is another tool that you can use just as that, but you still have to turn it on when it gets to this edge.
No, I love the Pit Viper. It's so fast in its execution.
Yeah,
It
this
is.
will only take
It
a
rips.
trade if it's at an edge. That's it.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it'll do. And you know,
turn it
so
on,
obviously
you turn it off.
but if you have voila, the auto HVACs, and then you have something like that, you can do some damage in those markets. There's did you guys look at the edges yesterday? I mean, all day. I turned it on live. I made on 2 trades, and then I was on the phone all day until like 2 a.m. my time. But like, I turned it on in the morning. I turned it on live. It took one trade in the NQ that I was barely paying attention to, and it took one trade in crude oil. I was up $600, and then I was like, well, that's pretty decent. I'll sure turn it off because I'm getting on the phone. I'm not really paying attention to it or anything like that. Every time I looked at an edge, even when I was on the phone and I was explaining the charts to people, I was like, dang it, why didn't I leave that on? Like, I mean, it was exactly.
Yeah.
It bounced off of those edges so perfectly, literally all day yesterday. I mean,
yeah. And the guy that draws those, he's quite.
We had him on last week.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's quite phenomenal in being able to do that. And he'll teach you how to do it if you want to do it yourself. But why do it when you can get it, right? Yeah.
Honestly,
actually, I'm looking forward to taking this class on that, because I think that for 2 reasons. One, I have this feeling, because I was with, like you, Randall, way long ago, and they used to teach it. I think that my expectation is I'm going to get a better understanding of the market, knowing the process. And 2, if Patrick and Preston get hit by a bus, at least I could keep going.
Right.
Now, plus you're a builder, man. I've taken the class. I've seen how it's done. I don't like doing it. Like, in all honesty, I just don't have the patience. I'd rather just have them there. But like you, the type of person that you are, Jeff, you would get a lot out of it. You would learn a lot. And I think you would really like how it's set up, how he goes in, and to find the knowledge of when the contracts roll, all that stuff, like all of that stuff that Pat puts into it that nobody really takes into consideration when you have it. Pat has put so much of himself and his years of experience into that. I mean,
his reputation is on the line each and every day.
Yeah. Every day. I think it's just to learn more about the whole process. The other thing I want to do is
go ahead.
I would just say the other thing I want to do is my dream list is do those mentors with Preston on the advanced trader and the context. I still struggle with that. Like, I'm doing really good at looking left and understanding it, but there's just so many nuances to it.
There really are.
It's that program. We did like a review of it, and every single person that took it said in like an A+ review, and they gave like a full walkthrough on how much it helped them, and it is really cool. I mean, and that it's funny because we were starting to talk about that, and then when we were all down at the conference in Florida, we had a student that was like, "Look, I want to take that course, but I don't like typing in the room. I'd rather be able to turn like on the microphone, ask my questions, and like make sure that nothing gets passed by." And so that's what we turned it into, and we all had the talks about it, and that's what it's turned into. So it's basically like kind of like a Zoom call contact like format where you can get in. He's still showing his charts like you do, Randall, on the Tuesdays.
Nights. Yeah, Tuesday.
Yep, where you can just go in there, ask your questions, and make sure they all get answered. So
surprisingly enough, not many students take advantage of that, and I'm really not sure why.
I don't know why either.
Yeah, they don't. But back to Patrick's.
I also hold up. I also think on that, Randall, is because we do tell a lot of people that your room is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you would just and I always say it, I always tell everybody it's Monday through Thursday, Monday through Thursday, because that's still a class, right? But if it's
not a class, quote unquote, classroom setting when I do that,
right?
But, maybe we need to change that to where Yeah.
I
But
think
it
it's
is
important
something
for
special.
people to know.
I
it's-
found
it is special.
your room, Randall, because we weren't doing that way back in the old days. That was really that's a fantastic foundation, and you just drill it into them, like time and time. It's just
Time.
amazing, right?
Dude, sometimes I get tired of it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like,
there are times that it's like, oh my God, how can I explain this any differently? Right.
Yeah,
And they're
but you know
still
what?
not getting it sometimes.
yeah,
But,
but you know, to you've done it a million times. To them, it's even if
It's
they're done
new.
it a dozen times, it still needs to
Still
sink
brand
in.
new.
So
Mhm.
it's not.
Still brand new for them. And
I
I
always
don't mind doing that.
tell people
Yeah.
that though. I always tell people like, Randall, you like, I've gotten to the point where I'm pretty impressed with my patience, but it's nothing compared to yours. Like, you have more patience than any person I know, and like you'll spend
you.
the time in there. And honestly, Jeff, you've been through some other programs and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure you can attest to this. There's nobody else in the business that does that type of thing.
No, there's I don't think there's anything else out there. This is amazing. To me, it's like my tribe. But it's to be able to trade live with folks like yourself and Patrick and Preston and like we could just call any of you guys if we need to.
That's right.
And that just doesn't happen anywhere else. It's amazing. I mean, you guys really
the value add that students
do.
get from this program is it's just not out there other than what we do.
No, really not.
Quite a bit of value add to everything that we do. And
because we truly care, every single one of us. That's the biggest thing. From the person that calls you to set the appointment to the person that you start working with, right, on the sales side, and then through onboarding, through the ramp up with Randall, in the online rooms. I honestly, I've looked at a lot of different programs, and I've been pitched different programs over the years and stuff like that. By far, that's what sets us apart from everybody else.
Well,
the
no BS factor, is incredible here. It's real. By the way, shout out to Rachel. She calls me she's awesome. So
she is
amazing.
Reach out, and so thank you.
Yeah, I know. I tell everybody, like, that woman is my right hand. I wouldn't I want to be able to get through my day without her being able to make sure it gets scheduled. And I mean, I call her every time.
What it is. I think that's, like the whole team is just, it's special. Like, and the team aspect is the most important and the most challenging in any business, right? So you've got this, Patrick has put this together, and you guys have come in, and it's quite amazing. And then the people that stick around.
That's the retention, the people that stay, and they just stay in the room, because this is a lonely business. If you try to do this by yourself,
so lonely.
It is a lonely business.
I would imagine it's so easy to go off down the rabbit hole of death too. I mean, just
bad thoughts. I was looking for it because when I moved over here, they were telling me that I could trade the FX tax free, and I was like, all right, I'll try it. I've always been a pretty decent trader. Once I got the hang of it, I'll do it.
It's a tricky market,
and it is a tricky market. And I don't even care. I won't say the name of the brokerage that I was with, but there was two different times that had nothing to do with margin requirement or anything like that. But they pulled me out of a trade, and I was successfully making about $500 a day, just kind of holding it for a day or two and just letting it run. And there was two. They would never explain the swing or the roll, and then there's two different times that I got pulled out of the market in the middle of the night for over $2,500 loss.
Oh,
and they wouldn't explain anything. I called them and I was like, "What? Why did I take that loss? Clearly not the margin. So what's going on here?" And they were like, "It looks like our London office lost data connection, or one of our servers went down or something last night. And
no.
the first time I was like, not cool. Well, I'll let it slide. And then it happened one more time and I canceled it. I never went back into it. Never.
Right. Yeah, the integrity of this group is incredible. And plus, we're not trained directly with this group.
And what is beautiful about this whole thing is that this method works. It works if you just apply it. You've got to apply it. You've got to follow the principles. You got to follow the discipline, all that along. But it works. And
undeniably.
And that's, I mean, I've invested, like you, Jeff, a lot of money before I found this group, before I found Patrick and Dan. I lost a lot of money just trying to find something that would work, because, trading, it's all about, you've got to have some type of plan to trade, because if you just go out there and just throw money at it, you're going to fall flat on your face. But finally, this method comes along. I buy into it. It took me a while to buy into it because I had a lot of bad habits to break. But finally did, and so that's the thing that I think that we also exude to other people, that, we do this. We actually do it. We're not just selling something.
No, you're trading right there.
We have gone through this.
The thing I think is crucial about this program is the accountability. That is just, I mean, it's one of the biggest reasons why I'm here. The other day I broke the rule of money management, and I made money on it, and it was a good trade, but I broke the rule. And so I sent it in. Even my email, I said, I'm session of confession. I broke this rule. Preston got so pissed at me. He really made Patrick look like, a softie. Oh my God. And then he said,
I love it.
You leave me no other choice. You are limited to one trade a day, one trade. And then at the end of the day, you're going to send me your statement, so I know that you held yourself to it. And then I was like, so I said in a couple of days, like, how long do I have to do this? He's like, I don't know. It might be months. He was so pissed at me. But, I appreciate
Dude, that's cool though. Honestly, the fact that he cares that much and like you would do that.
Accountability.
Who else would do that?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No. And then when Patrick gets on you, I love it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the cool thing. You take it in a good way, Jeff. There's definitely other people that it's like it's clearly not their thing. But how honestly, if you can't take a little bit of constructive criticism, it to truly help you out, then you're probably not going to be successful in not this, but most things in life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, constructive criticism
really value that.
Always needed it.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm getting a lot of to get my ass kicked, but I say that but it's so valuable. I send most of it, almost all.
I know you do.
I'm getting some lag in the feed. You guys getting
a little
too?
bit. Just a little bit. We're good. We got to wrap up here in about 5 minutes, anyways. But I mean, Jeff, what do you think? For you, what do you think is the best part of the program? What do you think honestly has helped you out the most?
I like the fact that it's so repeatable and it's applicable to any market. But what I love about it is it's a business that no one can take away from you. As long as you can trade, it's a phenomenal way to make yourself more secure financially. And I just really enjoy it. And this group is like, you guys are my tribe. I love being here. And
I love hearing that.
No, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I love it. So I love you guys. So I feel honored and blessed that you guys, and I'm thankful that you guys put this program on, because I couldn't do it otherwise. So,
that's awesome, man.
That is awesome, man. That really is.
Yep.
It's quite the compliment.
Well, thank you. It's well earned and well deserved. Thank you.
Well, hey, you know, both of you guys are some of my favorite people to talk to anyway. So I appreciate you coming on and taking the time, Jeff. I know you're a busy guy and you got mountains to move and, buildings to build. So
I got some nails.
Thank you for doing it. What was that?
I got some nails to drive. my wife said, you know, like, we're not starting until March. She's like, okay, so Jeff, we're gonna move in like in June, right? I'm like, wow.
This is gonna be a hard press.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be totally done, right? She's gave me some parameters, but so yeah, I got some expectations.
You think is that realistic?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she wants like she wants the bedroom finished and the bathroom working, and functional. Not going to be done, but yeah.
Kitchen
and I got to
get a little bit
functional,
right?
Yeah. She is a trooper, man. I tell you what, she's a blessing. And
shout out
how long you guys been married?
Wonderful women.
We've been married like 17 or 18 years. I think it was 2005, 2006. I think. Yeah. She hasn't fired me yet.
Oh, you ran, man.
Huh? How long have I been married?
Yeah.
48 years.
Wow,
man.
You don't even look that old. Holy cow. Amazing. Did you get married in kindergarten? Junior high school?
That was a kindergarten. Yeah.
It was a forced marriage, but it worked out.
What about you?
What was that?
Now, how long have you been married now?
7 years.
Wow.
Cool.
Nice.
September will be 8. So yeah.
Well,
it's crazy how time
48 years. I can't imagine that. That's amazing.
It is amazing that she put up with me this long. No, I'm very, very fortunate man as well, just like you.
That is true love, right? So when you're still together and loving each other after 48 years, that is true love. Actually,
and we still have weekends that we go away, or we have date nights, during the week, or whatever. We still love each other, right? After all these years, with all the gray hair and all the thinning hair and all of the, the looks fade, but the love grows stronger. It's amazing. It truly is.
How much do you think that's helped you guys too? Is making sure that you do those date nights and stuff like that?
Huge, man. Huge. It's really, really important that you take that time to be able to say to your other half, I appreciate you. I love you. I want to spend time with you. It's really important. It really is. That's helped. Yeah. Now, it's not to say that we haven't had bumps in the road, because if every marriage didn't, you like what we were talking about earlier, when you have these things that go bad, like for you, Fabs, when you got kicked out of that country, you turned a lemon into lemonade, and you have to do the same thing with your marriage. You've got to work it. It's a work in progress all the way, just like us traders. We're a work in progress. We can fall off the rails, but we can get back on those rails. Same thing with marriage. You just got to work at it.
Absolutely. I've been thinking about something since I watched that last episode. The one with Patrick, and you said it's Patrick's line, but you said it, and I don't think I had heard it until you said it, but it's strong. It's like, you're only as good as your last trade.
Yep.
And it's like, man, isn't that so true? Like, in so many things, you're constantly getting better and stuff like that, but you really are only as good as your last one.
So I don't think you can read that, but I have that stuck to my table. It says, what opportunity is the market going to give me right now? And the other one says, I'm only as profitable as my last trade. And I keep those things posted close by to look at that.
I love that. I love that, man.
So I have on my monitors, I follow the method, and I take the trade when it's there. I got those two.
Don't overthink it. That's beautiful. That's too good. That's really good too. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad
That's
that impressed you, Fabs. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. I actually was talking to a guy the other day, and he was like talking about returns, and he was trying to get everything. He was a super nice guy. We got along really good, but I actually said it like talking to him. I was like, look, man, I can talk about like past trades and like past years and past months and stuff like that, but like, you know, in all honesty, I heard from someone I look up to a lot that you're only as good as your last trade. So if I'm going to tell you, and that was yesterday, and I was like, so if I can tell you, if you want to talk about returns, my last trade, I'm up $600 on. So that's my returns.
All right.
You know,
that is so cool, dude. Awesome.
Heck yeah. Well, Jeff, thank you again, man. This has been awesome. Thank you so much.
I was honored you asked me. I really was, and I appreciate it. This is a lot of fun.
This was, man. Randman,
it is always fun for us too. I mean,
always have a blast
every single time. And I'm sorry I missed last week, but you know, hey, I put that wife first.
That's right. Got to do it. Got to do it. I appreciate both of you, and Jeff. I mean, we're always down to have you back. So this won't be the last.
Absolutely, it won't be
the
last.
Let me know when I'll be here. Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy.
Mike,
all right, man.
Thank you, guys, and thanks for tuning into the Life and Leverage podcast. See you next time.
See you guys.
Yes.